All right, everybody. How's it going? Let's do a quick audio and visual check. How's everybody doing? Got buffering on the YouTube on this potato computer, huh? This You guys could hear and see everything, right? Looks good. Looks good. Greed just passed 2 XFAs. Great work. 5x5. I mean, yeah, give me a few moments and we'll jump into this market. We might find some decent trades tonight, actually. Might find some decent trades tonight. All right, well, let's get started. Welcome, everybody. I'm Coach Dakota, Coach DBA. As always, in the YouTube chat is our top step risk disclosure. And yeah, this is not a signals class. No matter how much traders want to talk about fading or signals or setup, this is purely for education, and we should be following our own process, regardless of what others are doing. Now, with that being said, let's just dive into these markets. This is the NASDAQ daily chart. NASDAQ daily chart. We get 1 candlestick a day, and what a heck of a day it was in the NASDAQ. Remember last night we were talking about buy the dip, where traders were panicking, the sky's falling, bear market, all this dramatic stuff, and we sold off quite big, right? 3%, wherever we were at, close to 3%. Guess what? Here we go. Here we are. We rallied off those lows all the way back up towards 21,500. We filled the gap. Now, not much is really going on the daily, to be honest. It's very ugly on the daily. It's lots of chop, lots of price action, very volatile. And yeah, as we start to zoom in on the hourly chart, you filled the gap. I think that's just about it. And you can see tonight we are starting to sell off quite a bit, right? Where after this gap fill, we are starting to sell off. The question is, how far do we go? We are selling off. Or is this the start? Or is this just a dip to buy? These are the questions that we always have to ask, right? So we know that there's a lot of support around this zone, right? Major support, support and resistance around this zone. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come back down even maybe a little bit further. I'm not seeing too much. This is a very messy market. And so maybe we could even continue to zoom in a little bit more. And yeah, you can see that gap. It's kind of interesting. We filled this gap, and then we just completely sold off, right? Filled the gap, sold off. I mean, we're down. How far? We're down from since the high of tonight's session. We're down 0.5%. We're down 0.5%. I'm gonna go ahead and just I'm gonna actually just jump into one. Go ahead. I need to switch this back to points. Where's the points? I'll go through why I want to get in long. So, okay, I'll walk through this. Trade first. I'll talk it out in a moment. So here's what I'm looking at. So I looked at the daily, and then I looked at the hourly chart. Okay, and now I'm zoomed into this 5-minute chart, and what I'm seeing, this small size, 1 contract, very small. It is the Asian session. It's pretty crazy. Actually, you know what? I'm going to adjust my camera. Give me a second. Let's see if I could do this. I don't mind doing it live. My camera was bugging the heck out of me. There we go. I've been messing around with this setup. It should be a little bit better. There we go. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. I was actually I was putting my camera on. Yeah, you know what? I probably might not show you guys. These are just games, some fun games that I had. Some games that I was propping my camera up on. Let me just throw those over there. That's what happens. Anyway, so the reason why, let me go through why I'm looking at long. Now, what I want to do right now in the NASDAQ, I'm going to walk through everything that I was seeing. So I'm going to go back on the hourly chart and kind of go over that. I don't mind scaling into this. I probably will be okay with getting into maybe 3, depending on how this market is, maybe 4 contracts. But here we go. We filled this gap. And if we zoom in, we start to zoom in, you can see this is kind of where we broke through near the end of power hour. This is, lunch into power hour, and we had that nice rally to end the day. And then when I zoomed into this 5-minute chart, you could see this is what I was referring to. This was consolidation around lunchtime, and then we had a little bit of a sell-off. And then during power hour, we seen that big rally into the end of the day, big rally. Even after the close and after hours, we gapped up, and then from that gap, we started selling off. And now we sold off, and this was resistance as well, right? So resistance. We broke through, and I'm looking for this market to hold up. I have my stop loss. My stop loss is below these highs, right? Below this high. You can see it's resistance. It's became support again, and it's support and resistance once more. So here we are trying to align myself with this current market trend. Now, it's not from last night. Maybe we see something like this. Maybe we get even a little bit deeper of a pullback. Maybe we get some type of random Trump tweet and this market sells off, 80 points in my face because of, expect the unexpected, or is that unexpected now expected with tariff talk, conversation, news, and all that fun stuff. We'll see. We shall see. I'm going to zoom in. Let's take a look at even a smaller, zoom in a little bit more. Let's see what's going on this smaller one. You can see there's some bottom. There's some buyers that were stepping in here during this happened all after the bell, right? A lot that happened after the bell, where this is power hour. We closed here. And then after the bell, it was just been going up, right? And so we came down to this area. This is kind of similar to what I was referring to last night, I think, right? Where we came down with this, almost identical of a trade that I was talking about last night. This is an area of support. What's the chances of it becoming support? I'll take my odds. I'll take my odds for this becoming support again. And then risk. Where's my risk? My risk is 53 points, and I just threw that on there to be safe. I always want to have a stop loss. Let's take a look at a take profit. This might be one I might. Do I want to leave a runner on overnight with all this political risk? Leave a runner on to see if we come back up and test these highs to where we could maybe come back to where we opened, about an 80 points, actually maybe that high. I would actually prefer this high right here into these 60s. A little bit better than a 1-to-1 risk reward. I might be able to find my way to tighten up my risk to about 19 points, get a nice, 3-to-1 risk reward on this one, 4-to-1 risk reward, 20 risk 20 to make about 70, maybe something like this. Let's take a look. And there's even a case to say if I was in multiple contracts, maybe taking one off, if we could get back up here, maybe this, right? There's a case for this one to be made for a little bit of a 1-to-1 risk reward. 1-to-1 risk reward. I'm actually liking wider stop, and I am liking a wider take profit, and I might get into a second contract. If I could get into a second contract, and then it would allow me to take profit at 1-to-1 and then hold a runner. That definitely could be it. I like this one actually. Okay, let's get to some questions. Now I'm going to focus on this trade tonight. Make a little bit of money here maybe, and let's get to some questions in the chat. Class is starting to rub off. I tune in and we have a long from almost the same spot. Pretty close. Obviously, I would have wanted better trade location. I probably would have been able to get another. Dang, this is a volatile market. Another 10 points. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just do this. I'm going to take a look and I'm going to practice what I've been preaching in class. Let's take a look and how is the volatility tonight? It's not slow markets. It's not slow markets for sure. We're about 16 points. 16 points for an ATR. That's still on the high end for a slow markets class for this session. It's 16 points. And I'm risking more than I probably, yeah, that's quite a bit for risk. Let's just see how this one plays out. Let's see how this one plays out. I'm going to tighten my risk up just a little bit more. That risk is probably a little bit too much than I should take with one contract. If I start to build a position, then I would be okay. And then if I zoom in, this might turn into that classic scenario where my stop loss is a better entry. That's been happening for quite some time. So I think that might be what I do is I'm going to have a wider stop loss. And then if we run liquidity down here into these 60s, I'm going to add to it. That's probably what I'm going to do tonight. So anyway, let's watch this trade play out. I don't mind it. We could talk about it. We could even zoom in and we could talk about it from a smaller scale. I want to watch and see how this plays out on the 100 tick, actually. We'll see how this market plays out on the 100 tick. Anyway, let's get some questions. Can you sell one order at a time if you have multiple running? And if yes. The answer is yes. If you have multiple contracts, you could close out one of them. For example, if I'm long 2 contracts, I could close out one right now if I wanted, and I'd still be long one contract. Are we full porting along? With a little bit of hindsight, yeah, bigger size. It's Hoag's favorite saying. When a trade is going your way, you always wish you had more contracts on, but when a trade is going against you, you always wish you had less contracts on. Simple. We could maybe have some conversation in a minute about some NBA, but right now let's focus on these markets. Let's focus on some questions. If your trade starts going against you, is there a certain amount of time you are willing to wait until you believe the trade is invalid? So I typically do not look at time to invalidate a trade. For me, I'm okay with leaving a trade on overnight. So if this trade consolidates for the rest of class, like if for some reason we're still somewhere in this zone, let's say before it hits my stop loss, if we're somewhere in this zone before my class is over, or even at the end of my class, this could be a trade where I just let it run overnight and let it play out. I don't mind risking 46 points, maybe even lower, right? I don't mind risking about 50 points on one contract, which is what, $1,000. I don't mind risking $1,000 to make just a little bit over. This is a little bit better than a 1-to-1, and then I'll go to sleep. Market plays out. I wake up. I'm down 1,000, up a little over 1,000. But this is a decent setup, an overnight trade based off of higher time frames, right? We're just looking at the hourly chart first. We know this trend is since the open, the gap, right? We started to trend up. And the market, to me, and in my view, the market spends more time going up than it does going down. And we have been making higher lows throughout the New York session. You can see the huge buying stepping in during the New York session, and it's continuing to do that. Now, that could change. That could change in a complete second. It could change in a tweet, right? We all see this market sell off 60 points in just so fast. And that's the reality. What I like to do, to be honest, is I actually like to let trades run without a take profit. A lot of times I like to let this trade go without a take profit until I go to bed, right? And then when I go to bed, right before I turn my computer off to go to bed, I'll put my take profit and then I'll go to sleep, because I could still manage this trade because I'm looking at the markets. I can manage it. And if, the exact opposite, right? Say there's a news event and the market sells off and hits my stop loss, I'm covered. But what if there's a news event and the market just goes straight up and it just keeps going up? I can manually manage that trade. So that's just a little, I guess, tip that I like to do. Maybe it's a personal preference. Can you explain how you identify that zone? Nathan Jorgensen, what do you mean identify this zone? Start on those higher time frames. This is pretty straightforward, right? You can see this is resistance consolidating, and then right here during this big move up, we had this consolidation hesitation, and then we had a continuation, right? And so this is an area of support and resistance. The next one is going to be right a little bit lower, right? So this is where there was a lot of wicks here during the New York session, most of the morning, right? Lots of wicks, lots of resistance here. And then sure enough, that resistance, it became resistance and then support again. And then on the way back down, it became some, support, and then again, some resistance. Now, these are zones. These are not exact levels. Markets would be a lot easier if these were exact levels, but they're zones. And I have my stop tucked right underneath this zone. My CYA, if you will. I'm going to zoom back into the 100 tick chart. Let's see. So what I'm actually doing now is I'm kind of considering adding to this. I'm considering adding to this trade. Yeah, I like the way that this just happened, right? You could see that this was an area of support. We sold off. We came back up. And this is on a very micro scale, right? This is very, very micro. Typically, I don't look at this during slow markets, but we are seeing some decent price action. And so this is a micro scale where we could have easily just made a higher low right here. And this, 490s is holding pretty well. And so there is a consideration to add to this position. If we could break through these 506s, that is a possibility and something that I'm looking at. I could be a little bit preemptive, and I could add before we get there, and then be preemptive and say, I'm going to add, making an assumption, right? Looking for this market to, break through this level and then start to test some of these highs. And, being preemptive can bite you in the butt too. It's about risk reward versus profit or probability of profit, right? Pop over rock. Probability of profit over return on capital. Has anybody heard that before? Those are some, I haven't heard those ones for a while. Why is Nikkei PA so bad lately? I'm not sure, Roosevelt. I haven't been paying too much attention to the Nikkei. I've been kind of focused on the NASDAQ. We've been seeing a lot of volatility in the NASDAQ, and so I definitely want to see about trying to take advantage of some of this volatility. That is for sure. Whether it's tonight, whether it's during the New York session, I've been focused on the NASDAQ a lot more. So Gordon, you heard it from me earlier today. Yeah, it's an older term. It's really more an options term. Pop and then rock, probability of profit, and then return on capital. Pop and rock. It's an older term. Who am I to say it's older? It's when I started learning how to trade, quite a while ago. And yeah, maybe I should start bringing that up. Yeah. Pop, lock, rock, drop. Here we go. I might just get into this. Let's see. A little bit of a pullback. Let's see if we can get into 303s. Gold straight up tonight. Lucas Cruz. There's two ways that I'm okay with getting in. I'm okay with probably the better way to get in to add to this position would be to use like a buy stop. We tried to do that earlier today in the New York session in the house account, right? A buy stop, meaning we get in along as we break out, or we could get in using a limit order where we're at. I mean, that would be triggering us in right now. Let's see. Let's see if we could get us in at 6 evens. Okay, added to that. Let's see if we can get follow through these 06s. I'm gonna manage this trade manually. Because I still have my worst case scenario, emergency stop right there, and I'm gonna try and manage this trade manually. Where if we do start to sell off, close, right? I have the power to manage this trade. You can see over here on the, maybe we could just do this. You can see over here, manually close, sell market, buy market, join bid, ask. I don't mind as long. This is, you just need this, right? No matter what, this is like a lifesaver where something happens. Worst case scenario, that happens. I could control the rest here. Let's see. What is join bid, join ask? Join bid, join ask. It's exactly that, right? You have the bid and the ask. If I click join ask, it'll put in my order at the next ask price. If I just said join bid, it does the same. Let's see. 50 contracts offered at 83. Not too much in the depth of market. We'll continue to watching this one. Dakota, what are your time horizons on a trade for slow markets versus fast markets? Armando, so slow markets, I do not really have a time horizon. Slow markets, I could let a trade play out all night, right? This trade could be an all-nighter. I could leave this trade on till tomorrow morning, till the New York session. For the New York session, when I am trading during the New York session, usually it's within an hour. It's within an hour. With this volatility that we're seeing, it's a lot faster. You've seen me during the New York session today. I was in and out of the market, and it lasted 5 seconds, 10 seconds, right? With some crazy volatility. And so my answer on that is the New York session, it depends. Typically less than 1 hour, especially with this extreme volatility that we're seeing. It's much quicker. During slow markets, same thing. Typically it's overnight, but a lot of my slow markets trades that I've seen and the way that this volatility is, lately it's been don't trade, right? Just like, hey, let's not trade because it's slow markets, and everyone in here who's traded at this time sees what happens when there is a random announcement or tweet or whatever where this market's seen some crazy absurd movements. I mean, knock on wood, let's not see anything too crazy tonight. All we can hope for is decent price action, a little bit of volatility, and nothing too crazy. Like, that's all we can hope for sometimes with what's going on. I've spent too many times on the sidelines, and you know what? To be honest, when you don't feel confident of the price action at night and what's going on, a lot of times the better play is to just be on the sideline and wait till the markets are starting to act better. I want to see us, now that we've broken through this, I want to see us hold above this price, and then we could come up and we could start testing this price. Now remember, this is extremely small, right? Zoomed in, looking at this very small price action where I'm looking at these highs, checking out some of these highs to see if we can come up and test them, right? And then this is the major one. This is a major one. This is a lot bigger. So this is kind of where my target is going to be for maybe my first contract. See if we could push up into these 30s. I might close out even earlier. I want to watch this price action. Dakota, when the DOM is this thin, how do you get comfortable with the position? Seems like a small order can move the price. And yeah, correct. It's the Asian session that's small, very thin order book, so price can move very sporadically. And the way that I like, the best way to trade, in my opinion, is you trade smaller and you use wider stops. So smaller size, wider stops. Typically, I like to get into 5 contracts. I'm using, only 2 tonight so far, and I have a much wider stop. So trade smaller, allow more room because of that reason. And then typically you want to take and, use these higher time frames. Right, use an hourly, use a zoomed out on the 5 minute, looking for support and resistance. Right, we're looking for a higher low. We're seeing if this market can make a higher low, and then maybe look for some continuation back up. So that is the idea of this trade. And so even though I'm looking at the 100 tick, and even though I am looking and watching this market very zoomed in, that's not the trade. The trade was not based off of this and what you see on this 100 tick chart. I'm managing this trade and I'm watching this market on the 100 tick chart, but everything that's set up was on the higher time frame, right? Pro tip: buy low, sell high. Simple, right? It's so much harder to do than to say it. That funny thing is, design VIP. So shout out to everybody in my VIP Pop Squad. The first tip I gave to the team was that I said buy low, sell high. That was my first tip on the Pop Squad VIP. You guys get a little insights of the best trading advice in that VIP. Yeah, interesting. I mean, you can try and buy high and sell higher, but sometimes you see what happened during the New York session and crazy volatility. Hefe trades. Dakota is straight up just ignoring real questions and only answering. Oh, well, why'd you miss that one? You deleted it. You ask a question, and I'm actually reading it, and then you delete it. This chat goes quick. You're not the only one asking questions. We have 1,600 traders in here, and there's tons of questions that I try and filter and go through. What's that? Oh, man. YouTube chat. Ask a question. If I miss it, ask it again, but do not spam the chat. There's a fine line between spamming chat and then answering a question again, or asking the question again. Do I use moving averages? No, I do not. You guys see how I trade each and every night and throughout the New York session. Everybody in here, you see how I trade. I try and do it every single night, every single time I am on the Topstep TV during the day show. That is how I trade. Do I use indicators? No. Price action. You guys see I've been lately, as of late, I have been pulling up an ATR, but I don't use that as an indicator to trigger me into a trade. This is simply, how do I do that? So this is simply a gauge of how I see, how's the volatility, right? How's the volatility on, say, a 5-minute chart based off my trade setup? Well, you can see during the New York session, we spike up to 64 points every 5 minutes. High volatility. Tonight, we're around 16 points. 16 points for tonight. I should be okay with taking, 15, 16 points out of this market. Should be happy with 15, 16 points. Shouldn't be mad at that one, but let me get at that. But that doesn't trigger me into the trade. It's like, even though I'm looking at that, it's not what says I'm going to buy, I'm going to sell, right? An ATR doesn't tell you buy or sell. It doesn't tell you market direction. It's kind of just a gauge in volatility. I think the one indicator, if I was to recommend any indicator, the one indicator or indicators I would ever recommend to new traders would be something like a moving average, right? Very simple, very straightforward. Or a VWAP. Moving average or a VWAP, something that's simple, something that's straightforward, and that could help traders understand, what direction is this market going, Can this help me get into long? Could this help me get into a short? Maybe it will help with targets. I mean, it's up to that individual trader to determine how to get in and how to get out, if that makes sense. What's the benefit of setting the time frame to ticks, like 100 tick? I just like the 100 tick because it has no time involved with it. Like, time is irrelevant. It's more about the more clean price action, and it's more zoomed in than I just like it. That's it. Personal preference. Like, if we look at this chart, I'm going to get rid of this one because it's bugging me. So if we look at this chart and we take a look at the 100 tick, I can go in and I could start to see these pivots. I could say, okay, here's these pivots. I know what's my thoughts on these pivots, and maybe that's one. Or when I do that same thing, right? So now I do the same thing on, say, a 5-minute chart. I can't really see them. It's a lot harder to see those pivots. It's a lot harder for me to see this price action on a 5-minute. But then if I zoom into a 1-minute chart, yeah, I could start seeing them on the 1-minute chart too. So it's up to debate. And I think I might have missed an opportunity to get in and add to this. Yeah, let's. That could have easily been an opportunity to add. Looking for this thing to do maybe something similar, right? Maybe we see something similar on the way up. Could that be a possibility? Maybe. Looking for the way we went down, maybe the way we go up. Does Topstep provide tick chart for free? Yeah, I mean, you don't need a prescription. Everything that you see on this platform, you don't pay for it. I know there's a level 2 data, but I very rarely use the level 2 data. But the tick charts, indicators, simple moving average, the drawing tools, Dakota, would you consider an early exit if in loss? If so, what would you consider for that? Yes, I would consider an early exit for loss. Some early exit that I would consider for loss is how we react down here around these 80s. And possibly if we come down to these 90s, and now possibly if we break through this current pivot that we just made. Those are some possible or early exits. Remember, I'm managing this manual. My major emergency stop loss is at 442 down here, where worst case scenario, I'll lose 58 points. But I'm trading this manually. Dakota, do you ever stagger your take profits like you do entries? I find myself doing this a lot. Yeah, I do, right? So if we do get a nice breakout, I'll close one contract and then maybe hold on to another one for longer. Holding on for another one to longer. What's your entry model? Not sure. There's so many different ways I like to get in the market. It really depends. It's not one exact specific way. Ooh, here's an interesting one. Dakota, do you agree that there is one major algo for a major player? Other big institutions follow him and retail traders get trapped against their move most of the times? No. I do not. I do not believe that there's one major algo in this market. I think there are algorithms. I think there's institutions and bigger players who use algorithms to get in and get out of markets. But there's too many players to say that there's one big algorithm that would manipulate the markets and any of that. So, for example, this is the NASDAQ futures, right? Then you can have the QQQ, and there's so many different stocks in that QQQ, and there's so many different stocks that move up and down, and there's so many different things that affect it. It's hard for me to say that there's one of them. I would argue with anybody that there's probably not. We don't know anything for certain, right? There's no guaranteed, but I would argue that there's not one algorithm in the market. Like, come on. ICT is saying that. Your best strategy in general is follow the trend. Yeah, there you go. That's how you be a profitable trader. Follow the trend. Don't overcomplicate it. Tell about live account. If they give you live, how does the leverage go? So in a prop firm, you get a live account and you have an account balance, right? So for example, if we take a look at this account balance, 110,000, 111,000, right? That is how much drawdown I have, and it's up to me and the risk managers. Like I'll have a conversation like with Mick, with Ben, some of the risk managers, and say, yeah, my max position right now, I don't want to go over 5 contracts. My daily loss limit, say $5,000, right? It really is up to the risk management team to allow me to trade so many contracts. And they handle the margin, they handle how many contracts each account could get, and I don't have to worry about that stuff in a prop account. Now, if this was your personal account, right, you have a personal account with your personal broker, then you have to go through and deal with margin. What are the margin requirements? What's this? What's that? What's the overnight margin requirements? What's the daily margin requirements? How, and all that. I like that this prop firms keep it simple, right? I could have so much more leverage in a prop account than I can my personal accounts. Like if I call the risk management team, I could say, yeah, let's go ahead and I want to trade, 200 contracts. And yeah, I could trade 200 contracts here at Topstep with having less than what I need in margin. In my personal account, I might need a lot more margin. In a prop firm account at a prop firm, then they could open me up for more margin than I could trade with my personal. And it all depends on the trader, right? And it all depends on so many different things. Judas, Joe, you could use a discount broker. I'll make an argument that a prop firm could open you up to much more leverage because they have deeper pockets. It just depends on you as a trader and you as the risk management. If I call them, I'm like, yeah, today I want to risk $100,000. Give me, 1,000 contracts. Yeah, it doesn't mean I should. I don't think I could. I wouldn't be able to handle that. That's way too much. That's not true. Discount broker. What do you mean, J Money? Prove me wrong. I don't mind being proven wrong. It's prop accounts have more leverage than you can with that capital. A prop firm has millions of dollars and can leverage the heck out of you. Greg Sticks, well, I believe we are brokered through Ploys 500 and check their personal margin requirements. AMP 200 contracts is $1,000, $1,000 a tick. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that? I didn't get a haircut, everyone. I did not get a haircut. I usually go boxing or to the gym, and then right before starting class, I actually have my hair done tonight. Thanks for the trade. You took a short. I was looking short. The short still might play. We're not out of the woods yet for the longs. I still want to see if we could get through this level. These 5/16s play into these 20s. Most people using Topstep don't realize one NQ requires $22,000 deposit plus $2,000 daily maintenance. It depends on your broker. Yeah, real traders are finding out the hard way when they trade live accounts. When you trade a live account and you go from a sim to a live, you will find the reality of true trading, right? Go take a look at interactive brokers. Robinhood just you can now trade futures with Robinhood, right? Traders are seeing their margin requirements. Jeff Paxio. Dakota, are you going to take up for my funded futures on his bet? Jeff, I already replied. That's like last week, dude. I replied, he answered me, then he deleted it. Don't say anything unless he deletes it. So I'm not going to waste my time with someone like that. Trade of 8. What's your... I completely agree with you on the platforms. They're going to keep me thinking with income tax, with bigger payouts. Yep. So best advice, and I always have daily conversations with this. The best advice right now is always going to be you use prop firms as an advantage to be able to take a payout and go fund your own personal account. Like, that's the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is always and has always been to make money and use that money to fund your own personal account. That has always been the goal. Prop firm should only be a stepping stone. Prop firm is used as a stepping stone to, get access to capital, to learn how to trade. And then as you start to learn how to trade, you're able to take a payout and use that money to fund your own personal account. That's never been in question. But then we don't get SimFill quality. Hey, I'm going to stay out of that conversation. I've put too much attention on that. I've had my fun. Let's check gold. I'm in a trade. I'm manually trading this. So I'm not going to look at the different markets right now until this trade finishes. And we might not change screens for a while. Hey, Dakota, can a 3-bar form on a 1-hour chart? Slippers, yes. A 3-bar reversal can be on any time frame. It could be on a daily, hourly, weekly, 5-minute, 15-minute. It's just a candlestick pattern. It's not exclusive to a time frame. Why would one not continue to use prop firms if they work with you in live accounts? Yeah, exactly. It depends. Everyone has their own situation. Some traders I'll talk to, they say, I love using my live account with a prop firm because they help me manage my risk. I don't mind paying X amount because I have access to higher margins. Or, I don't want to use a prop firm because I don't want to give a percentage of my profits. And I've heard every single argument, and each argument is fair. Everyone has their own individual preferences. What's the rule to pass the top step rule for passing combines? Not sure what you mean by that one. As always, it depends. It always depends. You're asking a question, you want a specific answer, and a lot of the questions people ask when it comes to that it is too personalized to an individual. So it'd be incorrect for me to give a concrete answer. Simple. Is that a good example of a 3-bar reversal on a 30-minute? We could take a look at that. Let's take a look. Yeah, actually, good shout out for there. 3-bar reversal on a 30-minute. I don't trade off a 30-minute, but we have a trend, right? Whatever you want to dictate as a trend or a move. And you could even argue and say, let's take a look at this real fast. I want to see. Oh, that's looking good. I like the way that looks, to be honest. Yeah, I'll take a look at this. That makes me more confident in this trade. But you have a move. And then for me, a 3-bar reversal is this. This is the reversal bar. And as soon as price could get above the main bar's high, that's technically a 3-bar reversal. And I see traders trade it a lot of different ways, whether you want to wait for the next candlestick, like this candlestick, to close above it, or just for it to break above it. So I like to just get in as soon as we break through that one. I see traders wait for confirmation, wait for the market to close above it. I see a lot of different things, but yeah, essentially that is a good example on a 30-minute chart. The one thing I was looking at was, everyone knows I like to use these average true moves a lot of the time, and they can be relatively accurate, right? Nothing works 100% of the time, and so maybe we do get down to these 60s, and I'll get into another 1 or 2 contracts, because I'm okay with getting in for another 1 or 2 contracts here. Yeah, so yeah, I like that. Yep, move. We'll see if this one's going to play out or if we sell off. It lowers the risk in getting early. Yeah, it lowers the risk if you get in early, but it also lowers the probability, right? So that's going back to what I've been kind of referring to. POP, right? Probability of profit, and then ROC, return on capital, like risk reward. And so even though I get in, I like to get in early, I have a better risk reward, I tend to lose more. Where, yeah, there's plenty of examples where if I would have just waited for that confirmation, then I would have not lost money. That's plenty of examples on that. More room for error. Spot on. Seems like slow markets are slow again. Yeah, they're slow now. As soon as I get into the trade, they're not too slow. Okay, who am I kidding? They're a lot slower than they have been for a while. No tariff news yet. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Today was a perfect example. I passed over 5 combines in the past 2 months, but I can't seem to keep an XFA. Any tips? Gio, yes. Best tip I will always give for someone who can pass combines, but then they can't keep an XFA. You're trading too big of size. You're trading too big of size. If you can't keep an XFA open for longer than a few months, it's too big of size. You really want to be in an XFA for 3 months at least before you get anywhere close to a max loss limit. And that's just you gaining experience, you getting used to the emotions that an XFA could bring out, right? Where a combine, you react differently as emotionally compared to an XFA. And then that's the same thing. An XFA, you can react differently to comparing that to a live account. And so there's a big difference between an XFA and a combine, or a live account and an XFA. And most likely, it's because of too big of a position size. If you are in a size where you could get emotional about a loss, or a loss affects you, then it's probably too big. Like this, if this just sells off and I lose 58 points, this has zero effect on my emotions. Like any loss that I have, typically every trade, zero effect. Like it sucks. It sucks to lose. Everyone can agree it sucks to lose, but it's something you really need to get used to if you're going to be a trader. Every trade does not work out. You just have to get used to it. Get used to being a loser. The best loser wins. Yes. Deshante, can you withdraw all 100K if you want? Yeah, I can withdraw this full balance if I want to. I have over 30 winning days in my live account. I've basically had a live account since I've started at Topstep. There's been times where I've had to start over and start in XFAs, but I had a live account all throughout the spring and early summer last year, and then I switched over to Topstep X, and I lost that live account in my old Ninja Trader, and then I had to start over again. I started back in the Combine, got XFAs, and I got my live account. And I've had this live account since the end of July, maybe in August, I think. Maybe August. And I've had 30 winning days. And once you have 30 winning days, you could withdraw the entire balance. I was at around 350,000. So my live account balance was at 350,000. Last week I withdrew 240 something thousand, whatever it came to, 220, I don't know, I can't remember, 225, 2 something. I withdrew it down to 100,000. That's probably a better way to explain it. And yeah, I kept 100,000 in to trade live. Sivan, have you ever shared or broke down your dashboard with class? So the live accounts do not have the trader stats, but the XFAs and combines do. But I go through statistics every Wednesday night with Coach Jay. Every Wednesday night with Coach Jay, I do go through the statistics. It's always better to go through stats with Coach Jay to get a different perspective, have some good conversation. How can I? Okay, I'm going to get to a few more questions. This market is just so slow. Not much is going on. We might go through a review and yeah, we'll see. Oh, where am I at? Man, so many questions that go through fast. I am slow at reading tonight. Okay, everybody. Can I tweak my mindset better? Because yes, MNQ give me small loss, but I feel like trading less than 5 MNQ is also not worth the time I spend. I usually trade about 2 hours in the open. Simple. That is the hurdle we all go through, right? Is if you trade so small, you feel like it's not worth your time. Well, that's kind of how you need to be. If you could trade a size that you feel like it's not worth your time and you don't care about, then you'll have zero emotional attachment. So I'm going to be honest, everybody. I can make an argument that this size is not worth my time. I'm going to be honest that I could make an argument in my life that these two contracts at 50 points is not worth my time. I can make that argument. So I'm zero affected whether I win or lose on this trade. And you need to get it to a point that every single trade you place, you should have zero emotional, what do you call it, commitment or anything when it comes to that. You need to focus on the process. It doesn't matter whether it's 1 contract, 2 contract, 5 contract, 50 contract. It's the same process. Yeah, 2 to 3 micros. If we find a pivot here, I'm going to add. If we can find some support back down here into these mid to upper 80s, I will add to this. I have started making goals for when I can scale up in size based on P&L. It has made it a lot more interesting. You know, that's fair. And I would be okay. I'm okay with, and I enjoy seeing traders who make goals based off of either P&L or points or something in order to scaling up. You're giving yourself a plan, right? Too many traders go into this without a plan. Like, I don't have a plan to scale up. I don't have a plan to scale down. And they get lost. So if you have any type of plan to help you in scaling up or adjusting, that is absolutely amazing. If we find support right here, I wanted us to get down here. A reason to get in and a reason to get out. Yes. There's a 3-bar reversal on 100 tick, right? 3-bar reversal right there. That's a nice clean one. Damn it. We'll see if it gives me another opportunity. Maybe we can consolidate here for a little bit. Yeah, of course, Doug. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help traders answer questions. I have fun. I enjoy this, especially when the market's, kind of not doing too much. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I love what I do. I get to sit here. I get to do my own thing. I could trade. I could have fun, answer questions, help traders. I really enjoy that. Get, great feedback, get negative feedback, have fun with the trolls, and I get to, trade my live account, make money, and walk through the process. I've learned a lot thinking out loud. Now, it might be a little bit crazy from the outside looking in. I get to sit here and I could talk to myself, and I could, not a lot of people. I don't know. Maybe who in the chat sits there in their room trading or sits there trading, and they talk to themselves, answering questions. Me, Anderson, I do not have a salary. And I'm not even paid to be on Twitter or X, Twix. I got some comments like, yeah, Topstep's just paying you to be on social media. Nope. I'm on social media all by myself. Topstep doesn't pay me to promote them on Twitter or X or any of that stuff. They don't pay me to trade in front of you guys. I am simply just a coach and to help traders. And oh man, I'm horrible at pronouncing your name. I see you in class every night. I know traders cannot see that comment, but obsession is unhealthy, and I could tell you, I really do hope the best for everybody. And I think you know what I mean. Dakota, do I trade under an LLC? It depends. It depends on what on what I'm doing here. I do filter everything through an LLC. Everything gets filtered through an LLC for my prop firm trading. But I will ask, Greg says, ask your CPA. We have traders from around the world and traders from different countries. Your taxes are probably different than mine. Depending on where you're located, depending on so many different things, right? It depends. Ask your own local tax advisor. I don't know about you guys, but I'm okay with the IRS. The IRS and myself, we're friends. I don't like them, but you know what they say: keep your enemies closer. Everything that I do is kosher. I never have to worry about anything I do in taxes. I have an accountant. I have CPA, and everything's taken care of. And that's something you do need to work on. And I'm going to be honest. Everybody here that does trade and is looking to make money, that is something you have to pay attention to. You have to have this stuff planned out. You don't want to be stuck in a situation to where you withdraw $100,000 from a prop firm or with $100,000 from your trading account, and you get stuck with a big tax bill, and it puts you in not a good situation. So definitely have that in the back of your mind wherever you're at around this world. And whatever your individual tax situation is, that's something that you really should pay attention to, is pay attention to your taxes. Understand how it's going to affect you in all aspects, because I could even make an argument to say, taxes could be just as important. Understanding how taxes affect you when it comes to your trading and what you're doing in these markets, that could make or break, a profitable trader. It can. Lito. Dakota, how would you help one of your students develop patience? Let's say one of your VIP students need to develop patience. It's a very important skill. How would you help someone develop patience? Christopher, I see what you're getting at there. You're trying to get me to talk about some of my VIP coaching. So the VIP and my VIP class, I've been able to dedicate more time to. And hopefully I'm going to be able to dedicate more time to it and be able to go through things like that with a lot more detail. But I mean, in class like this, I like to give very general answers because it's very general. It's a bigger class, and typically the answer is it depends, because a lot of individual questions could be answered within an hour. I could take the time, I could go in detail, I could go into an hour, and I feel like some of that stuff should be the VIP and my VIP team, gets some of those details, right? But in general, practicing patience is the biggest part of trading. I spend more time watching the markets than I do in the markets. I mean, how do I explain it? A big part of trading is not trading. How much time do I spend actually in a position? Probably on average 1 hour a day. How many times do I spend looking at this market? Probably, well, let's see, 4, 5, 6 hours a day. I could make an argument. 5 or 6 hours a day I spend looking at this market. I would say 10% of your time watching the markets would be trading, maybe even less. Lucky cat. Well, we have a lot of new traders that come in, and we have a lot of new traders that are here. We have just over 1,800 traders here. You know what? By the way, let me know in the chat. Are you new? Are you new to slow markets? Are you new to Topstep? Let me know. I'm curious. We have 1,800 traders in here. But if you are new, yeah, all questions are welcome. If I've seen your name here again, everyone knows how I feel. I try and answer as much as I can. Michael Palmer, yes, less than a month. Welcome. Welcome. A week old. Oh, wow. Okay. Tom, you're a veteran. New. Just started January. Welcome. New futures coming from Forex. Okay, interesting. If you are from Forex, a nice thing about futures is there is currency future pairs. Coach Jay does trade some currency futures, so it's very similar, right? If you're going to trade the euro dollar, there's a euro dollar future. You can trade that here at Topstep, which is very nice as well. Need to throw a poll? Well, traders like to lie. Traders like to lie. I've scanned through the usernames. If I run a poll, I mean, anybody could click yes or no, right? But I could see the new usernames that I typically don't see in my slow markets class. Now, it's 1,800 traders. I can't keep track of everybody's user's name, but you get the idea. I come from MetaTrader. Okay, I haven't used MetaTrader for a very long time. Yeah, you've been here. I've been watching slow markets for a couple months now. Great. Kind of, but not new. Reverse button. No, actually an ad. I was not paying attention on that one. New to slow markets, not on Topstep yet. Okay, well, welcome. And here, that's the beautiful thing about what we're doing here at Topstep, and what Topstep has been able to offer this. Everyone could join. You don't have to be at Topstep to enjoy what we're doing on YouTube and what we're doing on these different platforms, which is nice. It's something that I didn't have growing up, and I didn't have learning how to trade. And I really wish I did. And you don't have to pay a single thing, and you're able to join this slow markets. You're able to join TopstepTV, watch it, ask these questions, and where else do you get that? You can't really get that very, at least not that I could think of, right? You could come in here and say, hey, how can I do this? How can I, adjust the stop loss, or what's this? And you don't even have to be a member of Topstep. And I myself, and I know a lot of the others and everyone that I've worked with here, like Coach Jay, Coach Paul, Hoag, and any of the other members at Topstep, are perfectly comfortable answering some of those questions, because everyone is basically treated the same. As far as what I've been able to tell, and my experience here at Topstep, is everybody is really treated the same. when you join the streams here. Now, of course, traders that have been here for a while and that are trading at XFAs and even alive, there's even an opportunity to join us on TopstepTV, right? You see some traders joining us on screen and asking questions and going through their strategy. That's always fun. So there is a bit of a benefit when it comes to that aspect. But other than that, there's nothing else out there that I've seen that, I mean, at least you don't have to pay for it, right? You could go out there and you could pay for a bunch of stuff and hope that you get the same quality and some questions answered and some, basically the same stuff, right? I don't know what else is through those paywalls, but there's paywalls everywhere on the internet world. I think many traders are not aware that trading is a zero-sum game, means someone else needs to lose against your dollar, and for sure it is not smart money losing against you. Smart money typically does not lose, and let's see how we react. I am feeling a lot, obviously, when the market's going against you, you're feeling less confident in your trade. We'll see. The question is, are we going to return back down here to these lower 400s? Look at the 5 minute. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. Lots of resistance. I still like this trade. I still like an add. I still like an add here. Let's see if this market's going to give me an opportunity. I want to probably maybe get into 3 contracts. 3 contracts. When in doubt, zoom out. Yep. You see that? You seen it where just looking to see how this price action is, zoomed out. That's the first thing I did. Zooming out, see where we're at, see what we're doing. And then I went back in. I'm going to hold this. Yeah, this is a trade that this is an overnight trade. Going to look for this market to come back and push up here to these mid 500s. And I'm actually looking to get into a 3rd contract. How do you balance protecting your capital and staying in trades when in drawdown? Process, right? You set a process up. You follow that process, and you should have statistics and a positive expectancy or understand it. And I'm perfectly fine with this process. And if anything, I'm going to be honest, if anything, this stop loss, yeah, I don't mind this. I don't mind this at all, this trade. The only thing that has me a little bit concerned, and I don't mind going over this because, the more I look at this, obviously I look at it and then I start to get like, okay, let's see what could happen. We do have where we closed during the New York session, right? This is the New York session close where we closed during the markets, and then after hours we got this rally. So this is maybe, I'm going to be devil's advocate against my trade, right? Devil's advocate against my trade is where we closed down here at the New York session close, right? Regular trading hours, we closed right here around 400. And we got that big rally. So big rally after the close. And this one might stop me out. Let's take a look at this. We closed at, let's just say here. We rallied almost 200 points. 200 points after we closed. 200 points after we closed on the New York session. And then from there, we have pulled back, as of right now, we've pulled back 126 points. So the one thing that has me a little bit concerned is if we do retrace this move and then we start to rally. But what I'm looking for is I'm actually looking to add. I want to add into 3 contracts right here. I'm happy with this stop loss. I'm perfectly fine with this stop loss. The question is, where do we add? Where do we add? And if this continues and sells off, this would be a loss, right? I think there's a nice long opportunity on gold. Your mic is cutting. My mic is cutting out. Can anybody hear me? Let's make sure we have a mic check. Hello. Why not close and try to get back in at a better price? Well, I'm going to add that my stop loss is solid. You might have to refresh your YouTube. I'm going to jump in right there. It's clear. Mic's good. Mic's good. Okay, good. Spotty mic. Yeah, try refreshing YouTube. I know I've been having some buffering issues, but I've got most of the buffering fixed. I haven't seen it happen for a little bit, so we should be good. We should be good. This trade is definitely going to, this might be a long one, everybody. All pun intended. Pun intended. This might be a long one, and here I am in a long. We're going to see. Do you know what caused yesterday's volatility? Yes, tariffs. Everyone's talking tariffs. There's been volatility for the past month or so. Yes, 415 lots. Refresh, she sounds fine. Still, tariffs have been cause of volatility for a while now. Wait, what did I get? What did I get on that ad? I got 472. I got 472 and 3/4 on that ad. 472 and 3/4. And so I'm still risking 48 points. Now this is still a small position size. I don't think I'm going to add another 2 contracts. Yeah, it's about 3,000 risk right now. $1,000 per contract if it's at 50 points. Good math. Back of napkin math, right? 50 points for every contract is $1,000, so risking just under 3,000. Today's Doxy range was only 0.10. Adding to a losing trade. Adding to a losing would be continuing to move my stop loss. Technically, sure, you could say this is adding to a losing if you want to be technical. Did you just come in here and say, where is my stop loss? Did you just really come in here and ask that? Come on now. Come on. Javier Zavada, 109 balance. No. Would it be surprised if this is 1/3 of my balance? I withdrew 225 last week. Doug, what's a stop loss? I don't know. Yeah, no one sees a stop loss. You don't need to see that stop loss. We got to hide that stop loss. Yeah, if we hide that stop loss, nobody sees it, right? Slippers 226 to be exact. Who's long, who's short? I'm sure there's lots of traders who love to fade me, who love to fade YouTube traders. I noticed I'm scared to short the market. I don't know why, but I always panic when I'm short and I close early. I'm not sure how to get rid of that fear. Any advice? Size down. Size down. If you ever feel any levels of emotion, okay, I want to make sure that I'm getting this right. Any levels of emotion, if you have fear, if you have greed, if you're scared to, hold a trade or any feelings, size down. Because you wouldn't be scared if you were in 1 micro, right? Now, if you're being scared because you're in 1 micro, then, that could be a different story. The smallest you could trade is micro, right? Maybe you need to trade a different market. Maybe you need to trade a different market. If you're trading the NASDAQ, maybe switch to the ES. Maybe switch to something a lot slower if you are feeling emotional trading one micro. This could be a good take profit. If I was short, my take profit would probably be, yeah, I would say closer to these lower 400s, 415s. $313. Oh, we could see 300s. It just takes one little tariff tweet, and we'll be in 300s. We could even name your price. We could see whatever price to the downside off of one tweet. We've already seen that happen this month. As Hoag says, gives you heart palpitations. Do you ever look at the high time frames? I do, Mason. I look at the higher time frames all the time. If we end up holding these 70s, you guys are gonna hate me. I might even add to this. If we can hold these 70s. Kind of just stuck right here. Can we get a positive tweet for us longs? I don't think the tweets have the long effects. I'm sorry. I have not seen tweets and tariff news that has long effects. And I mean, we did this during the New York session, right? But was that a tweet? Is that just some random tweet? Breaking the rule of adding to a loser. I'm not breaking my rule. I'm not breaking my rule. My stop loss is the same, and I've been wanting to add. And I want, and I'll continue to add. If we could break through and hold these 70s, I will add again. I'll let this thing go to my stop loss. My stop loss is probably someone's take profit. But I'm not going to add if we just tank. This is still a small size. Please understand, this is still a small size. Here we go. Watch this market. It's going to go straight to my stop loss, isn't it? That's the cost of transparency. You see it all the time. The cost of transparency, huh? You get to see the good, and now you get to also see the bad. I need to stop gambling. Why do traders think this is gambling? Help me understand this. Please help me understand it. I'm a pretty good gambler, if that's the case. If this is gambling, then I mean, it's pretty consistent. What do you mean I can't define my setups? You got to tune in. I go through and I walk through my trades every day. No, I don't mind the conversation. But you need to come in here and you're going to have constructive conversation. Give context behind it. Give context behind it, please. Context is needed. If somebody comes in here and says, "Oh, you're gambling," and that's all they say, There's absolutely no context. You come in here into a YouTube chat with zero, because I can make an argument, and I see some traders already in here. It's the same thing. There's risk in everything you do. This market looks bearish. Here comes the push to the upside. Not yet. We're still kind of just hanging out in this zone. It's only gambling if you don't know what you're doing. I would say this. I tell you this, okay? Because there is a fine line that I could see traders gambling. Is define gambling first. You have to define a gambling, right? You have to define what is gambling, and you have to understand, is it gambling? Okay, this is kind of how I've had conversations about gambling before. And take a look at the casinos in Las Vegas, okay? Market's one big casino. You could look at the market as one big casino. We're going to go on an analogy. Do casinos gamble? Right? And ask me that. Do casinos gamble? My answer is no. My answer would be no. Casinos do not gamble because they know that there's defined risk, and they know that there's a positive expectancy. They understand what that is, right? Now, it's a lot easier to define risk at a casino because it's algorithms and it's statistics and it's math. And it's the same here, right? You need to trade long enough to understand the statistics, to understand the math behind it, and to understand the trading. Edge. Look at all the trolls tonight. What's my opinion about volume profile and footprint charts? They're amazing if you could take the time and go through it. Coach Hoag is so amazing at reading it. Block the trolls? No, I'm not going to block them. Coach Hoop, I'm not blocking any trolls. They're not crossing any lines. I have a high level of tolerance. Don't blocks them. Don't blocks them, Richard. I have a high level of tolerance. Can you explain the difference of when you use a tick chart versus a 5 minute? When I want to zoom in and read like the smaller market structure, I'm fine. But here's the thing. I think maybe everyone's looking at this 100 tick chart, but nothing's really changed on this 5 minute. Nothing's changed on this 5 minute chart. Same, but not for trolls. Trolls come with the stream. That's part of the game, right? Your tolerance would be to the roof if your balance was 109. You trade motion control and tolerance, high risk. This isn't high risk. $3,000 is not high risk for what I've been trading. Do you care about the tick chart gaps at all? I do not. I do not care about tick chart gaps. Richard Harris, you like to troll yourself? 98% of traders in the chat. This market's crazy. It doesn't want to go up at all. No, we're getting a pullback. Yeah, all this has came after all this move is after the bell, right? After the bell, New York session close. New York session close. right there. That's New York session close. All of this came after the close. What do I like about the 100 tick chart? Just the fact that it zooms in. Just a zoomed in look. A much zoomed in look. XRP to the moon. We haven't looked at Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing? I'm going to keep an eye on this. Like I said, I'm still looking. I still don't mind adding if we end up holding support. But let's take a look. Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin for everybody. Oh my gosh, still 100,000, huh? You're going to probably hear me say this a lot for the Bitcoin is we're going to probably hang around 100,000 for quite a while, right? 100,000. We broke down. We got down to the below 92,000 and right back up. We're above 100,000. Same outlook. Still expecting market Bitcoin to hang around 100,000 for a while. Let's see. Still nothing happening here. I'm going to add right there. Oh my gosh, it's already end of class. It's already the end of class. So, all right, let's let this one play out. I'm going to let this one play out tonight. I'm going to look for this market. I'm looking for this market to return. Let's see if we can come back up here to possibly these 560s, 550s somewhere. Well, I'm looking for this. I might even consider before I go to sleep if the market does return up here to these 510s, closing out for one contract. But this is going to be my trade for tonight. Watch it, log it. I know everybody wants to backseat trade this baby. Watch it. Put it on your notebooks, your journal. Keep an eye. Let it keep you up at night. I don't mind. This is going to be my trade for the night. And yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. It's the end of class. And yeah, I've enjoyed it. Big shout out to the VIP teams. I'm excited. It's the first week of the new season. So take care, everybody, and enjoy your night.